Claudette Nelson, third grade teacher.
Hi, Allison Mathis, counselor.
Hi, Claire Silverman, fifth grade teacher.
Okay. I'm Zachary Klecki, I'm the third grade teacher, and I'm giving the presentation today over my poster. So for my action research project, I did what the impact of interactive games on students' engagement is in mathematics. And I wanted to find out if games were actually helping the students be more engaged in their lessons. And after going through the action research process of first giving them a test with using a unit without games used to study, and then giving them a unit with games that they can use to study, I found there was a slight increase. On this chart right here, it shows there was a slight increase in test scores of students who did play games to use to study. Along with my research of just the test scores, I also gave a survey to my students asking them what their preferred method of studying was. So was it worksheets, games, either board games or online games, or if they like to do things like flashcards. And then I also asked them for the reasoning behind this, and a lot of the times I found that they chose games, online games, because it was fun. But there were a majority of students that also chose worksheets, and their reasoning behind choosing worksheets was that they could actually show their work, and they were able to write out their problems and see that, which was kind of surprising to me because I know that they love playing video games and stuff. But over in this pie chart here, again, yellow is Prodigy, which is an online gaming application that they can practice math skills or English skills, but in this context they were using it for math skills. Then the next two that tied were actually our green, which is worksheets, and our red, which were the board games. And like I said, the worksheets was surprising to me, but again, I know my kids love board games as well, so I try to make sure that they can have those available for when they need it. And then the smallest part was flashcards, and I feel like that's something more that they would use at home to study. So my next step, if I were to do this cycle again, or the next time I do, I would like to try to get home involvement more. So communicating with parents, sending them these links to these online games, but also sending them like flashcards or other things that they can do to practice with their students, and try those things out at home, because I think that would also help increase these test scores more, but also really focus on that automaticity of the skills, because in third grade we learn division, multiplication. Those are skills that we really want to get hammered down in practice. So overall, I found that games did help and have a positive impact on their engagement, but I want to take that one step further and take it into also sending things home and getting parents more involved in this process. And then down here, I just have my sources. Again, my two sources of data were the tests that I administered, and then comparing those test scores, and then those surveys that I gave. And the third question on that survey also, I asked them where they liked to study most. Was it at school or at home? And many responses said at home as well. So that kind of led me to also want to get parents involved more, so they are aware of what's happening, what we're learning, and they can be more integrated into that practice at home. So, yes. Any questions?
I do.
Yes, Ms. Nelson.
You referred to two different types of games. You referred to online video games, and you referred to board games.
Yes.
In your survey,
Yes.
did it say online video games versus board games? Did you make a distinction there?
There is a distinction between, so I used Prodigy because that's our main online game, and board games. So I did have that as two separate options. So they could choose either one of those.
And the games that you said made a slight difference, was that online games or board games or both?
It was both.
It was both.
Because I also wanted to clarify, I don't make them use games. I did not make them use games in the second round of testing. It was an option if they would like to, or if they would like to continue working on those worksheets that they were originally given. So they had a choice. They were never forced to play games, but I found when they had the option, it did increase their engagement and also a slight increase in scores.
How long did they play the games, or
So it varied on how quickly they got through our first show what you know, so showing me that they know the skill and understand the skill. And then if one student got done within 10 minutes, they were able to play longer than a student who might have taken 15 or 20 minutes. And I could go back and look at the game logs to see how long they played that and just the different skills that they had practiced during that time.
And then you mentioned that when they did the worksheets, they were liking it because they said they could write out the work. When they do Prodigy or board games, are they not writing it out then? Or it's an option?
It is an option. I let them know that they can get paper, and for many problems that I see, they probably should use paper, but I think there's also a function on the game where they can write out their problems on there as well. But I always tell them that they are allowed to get paper because on their tests they have to show their work, so when they're practicing we want to make sure that they're also showing their work.
very interesting?
Any other questions? All right. Thank
Thank
you
you.
guys.